Coffee in hand, Saturday morning as we enter September here. Yeah, we're coming up into September, almost like the song says, "Wake me up when September ends." Uh, yeah, good old coffee in the morning and Saturday. You are here. We're welcome everybody to the talk show here that we do, Collectors Radio and things. I thought about something that we were going to discuss and just kind of brush over, really. But first of all, we're going to read your comments here. Again, like with the comments, sometimes we don't get your comment or whatever. Um, Either you published it on the channel here before we or after that we been done taped the show and everything. So anyhow, here we go. It's Jeffrey Richardson up first, no particular order, just the way it goes here. Good morning. 100% agree with you. Beautiful historical looking collection. Yeah, referring back to the other things we were talking about last week's show. I'm not so much, mainly it's because, what you can afford. Um, I'm not so much concerned with something that it's like, I want it to be worth a fortune. So, no, I mean, I'm more interested in it's cool, it's historical, and you can still go out there and, play with the thing or run the thing at the range or whatever and not worry so much about, oh my gosh, I'm gonna destroy this thing or hurt this thing. I'm not trying to not trying to run the thing like you would a Glock 17 or something like that, but certainly still have fun with it. Like I had gotten rid of an old M1 rifle a couple of years back or so, and mainly it was just time to move it on. But I've always kind of felt like I didn't really want to shoot it too much because it was older, but I actually have more of an interest in one of the newer ones, possibly by the Inland Manufacturing Company. Some people could argue that it's just a dressed up auto ordnance, but I kind of like the markings on it and everything. So stuff like that. Having a reproduction like that, that where it's cool, it still looks like the old original. It's still got the gray Parkerizing and and you can have that and run at the range, something like that. Just as an example of what I'm kind of getting at there, and I still enjoy that kind of stuff. In fact, enjoying a little bit of that a lot more now than I did in the past for sure. So, all right, this one here is lead from lead 8541. I agree. Sometimes the cool factor is more valuable than value. Yes, it is, and it certainly is for me. I'm not trying to. I got rid of things that were like just like, oh my gosh, you don't want to touch this thing. You don't want to take it out of the box. You got to be careful with it. Don't wreck the slide. I started to have really no interest in those things. Those that do, hey, more power to you. Run, do not walk. That's your thing. Me, I like to be able to at least, mess with it. Maybe not necessarily always at the range, but if you're say you got this beautiful single action army or something like that, and you're watching El Dorado, you're gonna want to pull the thing and cock it and do something with it. You don't want to have something that's just like, oh my god, I don't want to touch it, in the case. So anyway, I enjoy that too. Just so sometimes it's more enjoyable for me of doing stuff like that than not necessarily taking it to the range. Although that is fun, but in smaller doses for me these days. Great video. Have a great weekend, and that's from Lead. Thank you, Lead 8541. The Lead has an awesome channel, always doing something really cool. I love how he mixes it up with a lot of different things, barbecuing and a lot of the construction type work he does, painting or constructing something or tools and stuff like that. So really cool. I'm still telling you, he's best bacon video out there. If you guys haven't checked that out, he has a video on making candied bacon. All right, this one here is from Love Dogs, 1954. A medium young guy that appreciates 1911s when everybody today loves Glock, Glock, Glock. I have 100,000 through 1911s through the years. and it is still my favorite cold weather EDC along with a high power. Great job, sir. You are welcome. I certainly love the old stuff. Always have, even from day one. I remember when I bought my very first revolver on my own, and I remember contacting the fella on the island. This was back when I lived on the island of Hawaii. I remember asking him. I said, "Hey, I want a Smith and Wesson snub nose 38 special with 6 rounds." And I remember him saying, "Well, usually they're 5, but I think I might have one. I'll get back to you." Certainly, in about a few days, he got back to me. He says, "I think I got what you want." So I went down to his shop, and there he broke it out. It was Model 10-5 with a little snub barrel, and that was exactly what I wanted. So and we made a good deal, and that was the start. And then I remember kind of going from there. I was buying up a lot of Smith and Wesson revolvers back then, and yeah, I wasn't. I had owned quite a few revolvers before I even bought an auto loading pistol. And I remember him telling me, he says, "You have an interesting taste because you buy a lot of old stuff." Because for a young fellow like you, and I mean, that was when I was like, I really didn't really start getting into it until my like mid 20s. I was more interested in the earlier years, teen years, and very early 20s. I was more into my music and chasing skirt. All right. Um, Here's from Bohemian Hunting Club. They're a great group of guys over there at Bohemian Hunting Club. They're always having really cool stuff, and I really like how they have fun with it. They're not, I still get a kick out of that video. They had that heart thing that they did. That was cool. And then I think they were shooting bags of flour or something at one time. That was really awesome. Those guys have a really cool channel out there. Um, Yep, definitely dig the old school stuff, and they are for sure because they have a lot of old school stuff on their channel too. Check them out. Good group of guys, like I said. This one here is from Slim Fire. My man Slim is here again. We're always happy to hear from the everybody that's always here every week on the show. We're so glad to hear from you. Good morning, JW, and coffee in hand. You're right about Crazy Scotsman's comment. Yes. He was commenting about different classes. If you're going that route, you want to take classes. If you're getting into the shooting endeavors, definitely take a class. Educate yourself. Don't be stupid. Don't make mistakes. You're playing around with something very dangerous. Get educated, please. Um, I'm like you. My favorite is a Colt 1911. I can't disagree. Colt is one of my favorites. That company is just, if I could pick my number one favorite gun company, it's Colt. Hope you have a great weekend and a safe week, sir. Thanks, Slim. Just to elaborate a little bit on that, because I kind of jogged my mind a little bit here. To say I would say like because I've worked at a lot of the gun counters, and say I'm like a gun person or whatever. I would say it's almost incorrect because I'm not really. I'm into the stuff I'm into. I'm into the things that I like, and usually what details what I like is usually film related. I'm a movie fanatic. I love all the old school movies, and if there's a movie that really resonates with me, and it's a movie I watch a ton of, that will kind of dictate what I want, such as I wanted yellow grips on my single action. Why? Because I grew up watching movies with the Duke, and that's what he has. So stuff like that. And then Colt is kind of my favorite company. I usually will go past everything else, and then every now and then I'll see a Colt or something like something that Colt has done that strikes my eye. Not everything that they've done. They've made a lot of bombs that are just like terrible. But there's a lot of stuff that I really like, and I'm like, I want to, what's that, So anyway, Lion Quest Fitness, as someone who spent decades teaching, I can say Jason, aka Crazy Scotsman, has very good handle on teaching physical skills. It is not one size fits all. Absolutely, you're you're so right. Lion Quest Fitness, another great guy, Greg over there has a wonderful channel. booming, lots of views, well deserved. He does a really awesome job with his videos, and he's in great shape. I mean, always got to say that, man. He's in really good shape. All right, Crazy Scotsman. Speaking of Crazy Scotsman, I've been collecting for around 10 years or so. Even to this day, I'm still amazed at some of the prices. Things such as cardboard boxes, grips, for example. Absolutely, it does. It amazes me that somebody will pay that for a cardboard box or grips. The old, like, some of the Smith and Wesson grips, Roper grips or whatever, the ones, the Coke bottle with the palm swell grips or the end frames and things like that. Or it's like the minor details of it not having the C cut, and it's hundreds of dollars for that stuff. Um, I don't know. I can't get my head around that. Hey, I mean, cool. I mean, that's your thing. That's your thing. I was once there. I chased after a lot of those types of grips, but of course, when I was doing it, they weren't as bad. I mean, if you were going to go $100 on something, that was like top. Now we're talking hundreds. So kind of put me out of the market mainly because finances. So yeah, to me, there's nothing cooler than old school bluing. It sets the firearm apart from the modern day ones by far. Absolutely. Polished blue with the wood grips all the way. All right, Warren Ness, hi Bat Jack, how are you doing this week? I have to, I too have stopped shooting due to time, funds, and other commitments. That is pretty much sums it up for me, brother, right there. Uh, that is time, funds, and other commitments. I got so much other things going on in life that, yeah, a lot of that stuff took such a burner for me. Um, don't you put me on the back burner. My friend back in Hawaii, man, he used to sing karaoke. We used to go to the bars, and man, he could belt out that song like you wouldn't believe. In fact, the way he sung that song in the karaoke when we were doing a lot of bar scenes and stuff, um, made me like not like the song as much because when I actually heard the real version of it. But yeah, he's my big brother, man. He'll always will be. I've known him since I was 18. All right. Although I still enjoy firearms. My shooting is would be more like yours. Spend an hour or so, then on to the next thing. I also like the retro handguns, like the Wonder Nines, 1911s. Take and have take and have a great week. We will. This week has been going good. Got a lot of projects going on, and it looks like they're coming to a close. So at least during the time right now. So that's going to be awesome. Uh, Here is Sean Lee. Morning, y'all. Sip of coffee for y'all. Oh, we have a message here. Hang on. I'm sorry. It's because um, I have some construction stuff going on at the house, so I got to make sure it's not the guys I hired to help. All right. Sean Lee says, "Morning, y'all. Sip of coffee, y'all. It's too bad that greed has overpriced everything, and yet people will stay. Uh, People will still pay for it. Yeah, I'm sure that's what you meant. I'm sorry. Uh, that yeah, people will still pay for this stuff. That they will actually still like shell out the hundreds more than they should for it. And to me, it's like, why? But hey, I mean, if you got the deep pockets, like I said, not hating on you, more power to you. My endeavors stop at the buck because I don't have too many of them. In fact, like I said, we talked about, I sold off a bunch of stuff just to kind of take care of things that I wanted to on my property. All right. Would it be cool to have your own gun range on your property? Yes. Like some people are able to. Yeah, that would be cool. That would be nice. Step out there for a quick 15 minutes, get it, okay, that's cool, we're done. Would definitely spend too much on ammo. Yeah. Have a nice weekend, everyone. Yeah, that would be, for certain. Wishful thinking. All right. Joe P, my man Joe P. Swig of coffee for Joe. Good morning to you, too. DB, top of the morning, sometimes the hunt or chase is more satisfying than putting the item to use. Very true. Words of wisdom, DB. Words of wisdom. All right. I like to tinker and fall down the rabbit hole at times, and will buy a firearm solely to modify or build. I guess a guy could have a worse hobby. Yeah, you could definitely have a worse hobby. Real Cobra Burnout. Hey, hello there. Well, Real Cobra Burnout. I still watch your Bud K videos. Cool stuff. I still enjoy that. All right. And here is Cap. Cap is, I wonder which guns you let go. That's a tough decision to make when time comes. Yeah. Um, I got rid of my Gold Cup 45 because it was something that I never was a fan of the Gold Cup. I kept my 9mm one because of the movie Cobra. It had more of a movie relevance with me. Got rid of an old vintage Model 29 because I got the new one. I like the new one better. I know some people are like, oh my God, pulling their hair out because, why would you do something like that? Uh, um, a couple Smiths that were 38s and stuff like that I will never take out. So, I mean, it was stuff I liked, but it was stuff that I never would take out. I would never do anything with it. It sat in the safe forever. So, it's just time goes. Um, but I wanted to touch a little bit on collecting and stuff like that. If you're kind of like into something, or you're into like, you're wanting this collectible or that collectible or whatever, I always said, educate yourself on what it is. It always surprises me that people like, I'll give you an example. People that are obsessed with like jewelry. They buy jewelry, gold rings, gold bracelets, earrings, all that stuff, right? I'm not one of those people, by the way. Um, they're really into it. And then yet they'll pick up a piece and they're looking at it and is this really gold? If you're into this stuff, you would know. You should know if that's actually, you should know by picking it up and looking at it if that is what you're into. I don't go to the gun shop or whatever and go, God, is this a real Colt Gold 19, a real Colt 1911 from 1973? I don't know. It's like, no. I chose to read books and look at things and be like, okay, that's the correct prefix numbers for the serial number or whatever. I didn't do it to impress anybody, to know all that stuff. I did it for myself because that's what I'm into, and I want to make sure that I don't get burned. Hey, man, by the way, you bought the wrong thing. So, anyway, before I leave you, I keep bumping this table. I'm sorry. Um, Before I leave you, I wanted to kind of reminisce about some stuff on the island from the good old days from actually when I was a kid. I was in the seventh grade, and I'll never forget this, and I'll never forget this teacher because I think we all have one of those teachers that we'll never forget. I was very blessed to have a lot of teachers that I will never forget. They were very good to me, um, and this guy was just awesome. It was the seventh grade. He was a science teacher, and I remember for whatever Lord knows, I wanted to do the dissection of frogs. I heard that he was one of the last teachers to actually do frog dissections. This was the last of the old guard. Like I always say, my generation coming up was almost like the last threads of the old guard that was still like, old school, if you will. Um, so I remember Mr. Cooperson. He did the frog dissection. So I was in his class, and that guy made me laugh all the time. Still to this day, I remember all that stuff. And we did. I got to do the frog dissection with him. I actually, get this, I actually screwed up because I wasn't, believe it or not. Well, actually, people, I can totally believe this, and so would my mom. I was not an A student. I was a very mediocre, probably barely passing student. I was very, very. I did not do well in school. So, um, I actually did not have enough credit or something to do the dissection. And he straight told me that. And I mean, that's all I ever talked to him about. I used to sometimes the bell would ring, would go to, to recess or something. I'd spend my time in there talking to him. But yeah, it came down to it where I didn't have enough like credit or something. So I was like, dang, like, what do I do? So I remember doing extra credit. And what I did was I made a big drawing of a frog with all the parts and labeled everything. And that's how I passed and got to do it. Some kids didn't. There was a lot of kids that did not get to do the dissection. I don't remember why or what that was about, but there was a thing where you had to qualify to do it. I can't remember. There was a. I mean, sure, there's a reason for doing this, but I screwed up as I always do, and didn't get the. So I did this diagram, this big, drew it all out and everything, and my grandpa helped me do it at home, and we colored it and everything, and I turned it into him, and I was able to do the dissection. But Coop was just awesome. That was one class I'll never forget. And so there's many teachers that I had over the years that I'll never forget. So anyway, hopefully you like this week's show. I figured I'd share a little story with you, and have everybody have a great weekend. I got to get out there and help out and get some of my projects done.